In the bustling community of Mamprobi Police Barracks, amidst the passion for football, emerged a champion of a different kind.
And there's Cadman.
Football is and was his first love, but high jump stole him under interesting circumstances.
My story about high jump, I wasn't a high jumper at first. I was a football player. And a really good football player. I started with FC Bata kids in Mamprobi. I played really well. I had so many scouts coming in, trying to sign me. My mom and dad hasn't been a fan of being in a football academy. So I went to Swedro Senior High School.
This thing started way back in 2017, our days in the SHS, Swedro Senior High School. So we were fortunate to be in the same house, the Gav Johnson House, the way. So from 2015 up to 2017, Cadman was a goalkeeper for the school football team.
Somebody called us from Swedro that come and see your boy at the Swedro Sports Stadium. And even there too, surprisingly, he wasn't a footballer, he was a goalkeeper. So he was at the stadium and come and see the way. I said, wow.
I played on the basketball team, played on the soccer team. I tried volleyball, I tried handball. So it was anything other than athletics. So I saw people high jump, and I think in my second year, I saw one of my seniors having a severe injury in the high jump. They were practicing, so he had a serious injury. And since then, it shaped my idea of high jump. I never dreamt of being a high jumper because of that injury.
He wasn't doing high jump. I was the one doing high jump, and I was also doing triple jump.
I saw him high jump. As I said, I never wanted to be a high jumper. But on one fateful afternoon after school, I was going to play soccer, and I saw them high jumping for fun. And I was like, okay, fine. Since the soccer team is not yet ready, let me just try one, and I could go ahead and go do my soccer training. And the funny thing is, I didn't use the approach they were using. I just headed over the bar and just walked away. We had this house inspection every Saturday in high school, yes. And that was something that I wasn't a fan of. I wasn't a dirty guy, but then I wasn't a fan of standing for hours waiting for people to come inspect my room and all that. So I saw the high jump practice on Saturday as a perfect avenue to skip the house inspection. So whenever they were ready for house inspection, I just ran to go high jump. I wasn't the best at it, but then my coach, Coach Isaac, was like, you have potential. Even though you don't have the proper technique, I see so much potential in you, so we'll pick it from there.
He came to me and he said to me, Ima, I want to join your club. And so he came, and fortunately, you see, because we were all in the same house, we ended up competing for our house.
He was a better high jumper than I was, so I wanted to learn from him. And if we were away from each other, maybe the experience, he coaching me, would have been different. So I spoke to my dad, and my dad brought him to our house. So he's still living in our house as of now, and he's like a brother to me right now. I involve him in everything I do. So to me, if you take Cristiano Ronaldo out of the picture, he was my idol back in high school, and still is my idol.
Last year at the SHS, where he came second and I came first. Yeah. So I think that's how he see me as motivation.
And now, he's been sold to the rest of Africa.
And there's Cadman.
His journey to becoming an African high jump champion was filled with obstacles and challenges that tested his resolve and determination.
I am in education, so my concentration was on his books. And growing up as a barracks boy, you know how these boys are. And always where we lived, we had the opportunity to have playing grounds for them. So for him, football was everything. But I wasn't too keen on the sports side of him. I wanted him to be a lawyer. So I was on the book side of him. So anytime they want to push the sports side, I have to also match it to push my book side there. So I virtually call him Lawyer Cadman because I wanted him to be a lawyer and I wanted that to be at the back of his mind.
When he was coming, I told him that I know he will do it. So I'm not surprised about this story, okay? And I know what he can do. And he can do better and better in and outside Ghana. I know what he can do because I know my boy. Cadman, and the word Evans, he's a warrior.
When he came in, I had to condition apart from the skill work. And most of the athletes were afraid of weight training in terms of conditioning. So he was not too regular. So it
So if I hadn't have achieved the 223, probably 221 would have been my mark. That's where I'll start my jumps from. So 223 is like an opening height for me now. It's another achievement. So I need to build on. I don't have to be like reluctant and stay at 223. Then we are in our outdoor season, if you've noticed. So 223 should be, as I said, like a stepping stone. So more to come, more to come.
Proud is an understatement because if I should tell you the number of times I've watched those videos circulating, even this morning I've watched it like 4 times, and I still don't believe this is my son. I still cannot come to terms with it, that this is my son. At the stadium, it got to a point I was not even watching him jump. I was just fixing my eyes on the screen there. And that joy, that feeling.
From the football field to the track, Cadman's journey was not without challenges.
At some point, I stopped like athletics because the system wasn't being fair. I got injured. My name wasn't making the list whenever they were traveling to other countries. So I was like, okay, I think they don't see my worth. So I went back to playing soccer and stopped track and field. Then I sustained this shoulder injury, and I was like, okay, fine. Maybe sports isn't my thing, because the more I tried, the more I got hurt.
just at the time he had the injury, we were preparing to go for first 2 games in Nairobi. And because he had an injury, we thought he couldn't make it. Unfortunately, we didn't put his name on the list. and we went for the competition without him. And that almost, it put him down because he really wanted to be there.
Didn't show up for practice and all that. Coach Bruce was upset, but then I was in school to study and not to do sports. And he kept calling, he kept sending people my way to convince me to coming back into high jump because he believed I was the best in the university.
He was the only athlete, I saw the potential in him. And it was one athlete I had to keep calling. Why you not training? What is wrong with you?
Obviously, before he came over, he was a very talented high jumper and a very talented athlete, but I could tell immediately there was a few technical things that we needed to kind of fix right away. And when we addressed those in the first few weeks and we kind of learned to understand how to execute them, he started just progressing at this phenomenal rate. He jumped 2:14 at his first competition here to break the Ghana indoor national record. Next meet, he jumped 2:18. Next meet, he jumped 2:20. And I'm like, what is going on? I was like, this is ridiculous. And he's an incredible athlete, but what we still need to develop is consistency. And that is what he has done so well this past season. He is more consistent with his run. He is more consistent with his takeoffs. And with consistency brings big jumps. And that we can trust what we do, and we don't really have to think about the technical things in competition. All he has to do is go out and compete and be an absolute competitor. And that is what we saw at the African Games.
And when he jumped the 2:05 way back, the world record is 2.45 in high jump. So I'll just measure and I tell you, listen, you are between about this height away from the world record. And then Gusa, he jumped 2:11, so I had to reduce it. Now the distance had reduced. Now he's doing 2:3. And 2:3, if you take out 4.5, that's about 2.2 or so. So he's getting closer. And like I said, if he keeps working, he will hit it. He's one athlete I believe will go very far.
Cadman's leap of 2.23 meters was one of a kind, and he believes he drew power from the Commonwealth Hall students who filled the stands.
Coming back to Ghana, and not just any other university, was the University of Ghana, like my home. And I knew the kind of people who would be coming around. I didn't want to disappoint anyone. So I was willing to push myself to the extreme in order to secure a medal. I wasn't aiming at a gold medal, to be honest. It was solely a medal for Ghana because we were literally behind the medal table. And when I coached Rose Yamoah through her jumps, I wasn't the one doing the coaching. It was Coach Jenna, Madam Salah, then my coach from the University of Central Missouri, who were talking to her. But I was closer to Rose, so they relayed the information to me. Then I tell Rose. And the people in the stands were like, Coachy. So I was like, I'm not the one doing the job. The people here are doing the job, and I'm just relaying the information. Then after Rose's success, the pressure fell upon me. I had people in the stands saying, it's your turn. If you don't win gold medal, Ghana, so many threats, but I found them to be friendly threats. And people in my DM, people from the Commonwealth Hall, they were like, bro, we believe in you, we know you can do it. So those really tuned my mind that regardless of what's going to happen that day, I still need to be on the medal podium. And that day, the last jump 2:23, when I saw the Moroccan guy sail over the 2:21, I lost control. I was like, okay, it's now or never. It's either I win this or I'm losing it. Because I was ranked first throughout all the jumps. And all of a sudden, this kid is taking control. I need to do something phenomenal. And trust me, if he had jumped the 2:23, it would have been a bloodbath on our field. We would have pushed ourselves. My coaches know this. My coaches here know that I don't want to see defeat. I want to push myself to okay, fine, my body can't take it anymore.
Vandals, we support each other. There's this respect and we respect each other, and there's this bond, friendship, that we call it the loyalty, the vivacity that is done for the acronym. that's vivacious, affable, neighborly, dedicated, and loyal, altruistic. That's what holds Vandals together. So as a loyal person, we come wherever you are as a Vandal. We also make sure we come and support you so that you win. And as a Vandal, you always have this belief that like you are superior to all other people, especially our colleagues on campus. So there's this spirit on you that you not let a Kwafu or Saba or Legon Hall guy beat you in any competition. So we imbibe that thing in you from the scratch. So you feel superior whenever you meet or your mates who are not from Commonwealth or So we groom you and put that spirit in you that you're a Vandal. You don't have to fear. Wherever you go, whatever you are doing, you have to conquer. So that was the spirit that was imbibed in Cadman. So that's it.
The Commonwealth Hall, I felt like everything was like sinking like really perfectly. Like the way they behaved, like the way they carried themselves, really shaped me into being a better athlete. Like when they are doing something, they go all out. They don't care. They just do everything out of passion. So during our first inter-hall, the way they came out in their numbers to cheer me on last Friday, that's exactly what happened in my first year. Then I had people in the stands telling me, hey, we have our money behind you. That means they were gambling in the stands. Like,
today. And then we're going to take a break. About 5 times. And then put some. I was talking about skipping rope.
As much as I'm nervous in the grandstands, making sure that we're executing things technically, I am just enjoying the show.
a month ago, but now I'm like the African champion. That's so much responsibility. I believe like with God on my side, this was meant to happen. So if God being so good, he's going to see me through all this. It's just like another challenge that I have to go through. And I'm more than ready more than capable to defend my title. I'm not going to like let it go. Even though in sports, lose and win is part of the game, but I'm here to stay. When I was in the University of Ghana, Coach Bruce will testify. When anytime they call for the weight room, I disappear. I'm no longer in the school. When they call for the weight session, because I've not been a fan of the weight room, and I'm still not a fan of the weight room, but when I got to the US, it's strictly business. That's what we're doing. And I feel like the weight room really has done like so much. I've seen improvement, and anytime like we go to the weight room, we do the French contrast, we do like those weight stuff. It has like my jumps has like improved massively.
If he had accepted, he had got on the weight training early, I'm sure he would have hit this height long before he left here. But it was just the final year, and he left here about a year or so ago, and he's hit that. So I believe one day we'll be seeing him at the World Championship or something. I don't think that's his center.
Gusa 2022 in KNUST. That is where like I realized, okay, so if I had put in more work in the past years, probably I'll be jumping the higher bars like 230, 235. Because even the coaches in the University of Ghana always say, you are a lazy athlete, but when it comes to results, you give the results. I don't like to practice, but when it comes to like giving out the results, I like to compete a lot, so.
As Cadman Yamoah continues to make strides on the track, his legacy as a champion and inspiration to millions is already written in the annals of African sports history. And just how much of an impact does Ronaldo have on you?
Oh, a lot. He's impacted me a lot. His work ethics is like one of the best. This is a guy who doesn't really focus on himself, but then he wants his team to succeed too. And we've seen that in so many of his games. Anytime they are down, he keeps pushing the team, hey, let's go, let's do this. And that's like one thing I've learned from him during my days in playing football to athletics. I want to really push myself, I want to work hard, and I don't want to disappoint anyone. And that's literally Ronaldo in a short description.
I didn't really understand. Like, I didn't realize he was that big of an influence and a motivator. Obviously, I'm a huge football fan, and that's what I loved the most when I was in Ghana, that everyone was wearing football shirts, whether it was Manchester United, Chelsea, Real Madrid, Barcelona. I grew up loving football, and so that was the best medium for me to interact with people over there and make conversation. And Cristiano Ronaldo is one of the biggest sports personalities in the world, and everyone knows the celebration. I did not expect Cadman to pull that out and do it in that moment, and for the whole stadium to erupt with him. I guess we don't talk much about that, of like who's your idols, who inspires you. We always talk about football, but that's, I don't know, I think in the moment things just happen, and what we saw is kind of just what comes out of him. But just to hear that whole stadium support him as if they did Cristiano Ronaldo is phenomenal.
When I cleared the height, I couldn't believe what I just did. If you